Hi everyone, it's Erkan here from the Start Your Next Adventure podcast. I'm here with Claudio and Gabs DiMaggio and Robbie Kazandjian from Steeda. Great, well welcome everyone. How are we?
Hello.
Yeah, good.
This is podcast official number 2. So thank you for coming along.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, great. So tell us a little bit about Steeda. I mean, actually let's go back a bit. Let's first find out, how did you get into cars? What happened? What was the story?
Well, I mean, long story, my dad, he loves cars. He's had more cars than anyone I can think of. He used to change them like he changed his trousers. You just get new car all the time. You never knew what you were going to come home and see. And it was just all kinds of stuff.
And he was what? He was like an enthusiast, or did he work on cars?
Yeah, he loves cars. Enthusiast. When he was young, he used to hang out in the garage, and then he had a car rental business. And he's from Lebanon. He used to be like the first person to import this car or that car, and he's just always loved cars. Just all kinds of stuff as well. American classics. European stuff, Rolls Royces, sports cars.
Wow.
Just like custom. I remember Dodge custom van, just anything. If it caught his eye and took his fancy, you just get one and just.
Is that where American disease come from?
No, just everything. Yeah, he loves American cars, but he just, he likes Italian cars, and he likes tiny, and he knows all these weird cars. When I was in Florida last time, he spotted some tiny little Italian car from the 60s, which I've never even seen, let alone. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I used to have one of them." And I was like, "What is it?" So yeah, he's just mad fan of cars. So I just grew up with it, and I love them as well. They're
Yeah, because you see your dad coming home with cars as a passion. It's obviously laying the way. I mean, this is the case with Claudio and Gabs, and our last guest as well, Raj Singh, said, I grew up in it, and it was like that's in my blood.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm passionate about.
Yeah. It's just I remember washing the cars when I was young. You get a bit of pocket money washing the cars, and I had when the jet washes first came out, and my dad had a Porsche or something, and I was trying to jet wash it and let go of the trigger. I was only little. I was about 8 or something, so I was leaning in, with the pressure, and let go of the trigger, and donk. I was like, I
got away with that. Yeah. My dad had a Cortina.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I couldn't get away with my dad, because I literally about 10 seconds after he got back, he's like, "Hey, what's that on the?" And I was like, "Oh." He's opposite to me in that way, in terms of polishing cars and stuff like that. He actually can see stuff. I'm just like, it's four wheels, and
we'll get to wheels in a minute, Robbie.
No, but so, you know what I mean. I like driving them, and just generally looking at them, but not like detailing, and I just can't see it. I appreciate it when it's done, but I can't.
You can't be bothered with
if you gave me a car and said make that amazing, I just wouldn't know where to start, and just could be bothered.
On that note, I mean, Gabs, Cloud, do you kind of get obsessed about getting a car really? I mean, there's something about getting the car clean and taking it out for a drive, but you're not up for doing it yourselves?
Not really.
Not the cleaning bit. No.
I'd rather be driving. I'm like,
you don't care if it's dirty or whatever. It's just get it out and rag it around.
There's many a show where I've been standing with demo cars and stuff, and then everyone around me is frantically polishing and stuff, and I'm like, I probably should be doing that as well.
Building it or driving it flat out.
Yeah, I just like that. Planning it and then driving it, and
not so much rubbing it.
Yeah, well, that's what you say.
But I remember, you brought to mind, my dad bought a Manta SR.
My Opel Manta, my first rear-wheel drive.
A Manta Opel, was it an Opel? Yeah.
GTE,
no, not but the one before that. The SR, the one with the little round lights at the back. And then he had a GTE after that, my dad. But my brother decided he didn't like yellow, so he went and got a pot of paint, and he painted it. He started painting it white.
Oh no!
Yeah, so
are you kidding?
It was like we've got loads of stories like that as kids, how we messed up cars.
Oh man!
Tried to hide it.
Was it white emulsion?
It was white emulsion. I think there was a roller involved.
Leave a trail of white in the rain.
Well, actually, on that note,
it's probably easier to notice than the little ding from the pressure washer.
On that note, I remember as kids we used to mess up everything my mum and dad loved. But my kids have been. You'd put stuff in the VCR. I remember sticking screwdrivers in speakers. Mum goes, "Do you remember you used to stick screwdrivers in your dad's speakers?" I'm like, and I was into hi-fi really bad. She goes, "Could you imagine one of your daughters?" I'm like, no. I'm surprised it didn't kill us.
I remember going to a party in East London with a mate of mine back in the day, And they were like 16 or 17, and their dad was away. And he goes, I'll try and get the car out and go for a drive, which is locked in his garage because his dad knew what he was like. And he just thought the best solution was to try and ram his way out of the garage in the car.
In the car. Wow.
Well, it makes sense.
And I was sitting there going, you cannot be, I'd be dead. And it just didn't work, obviously, either. So that was the other flaw with the plan. It was never going to work. But yeah. Anyway,
oh well,
right.
but it's that drive. It's that desire to be out in the car, and I think there's that. We talk about this in previous shows. It's like once you got keys, you got keys to the kingdom, haven't you? You got the car. You can go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to wait for a bus. You can pick up your mates. You can, it's a rite of passage, isn't it? Getting a car.
For sure. For sure. It's like being a kid and getting your first bike, really, isn't it? It's the same thing. You have the ability to just
travel,
decide where you're going to go.
My dad being a mechanic, first time I took his car out, he took the car battery clamp off to see if I drive it fast. So I brought it back that night, and he went, "Have you been driving the car fast?" I went, "No." He opened the bonnet up. It was a battery upside down.
That's quite a risk, though, isn't it? Having a battery upside down.
That and no.
Busted.
You know, don't you?
So I assume North London, Robbie. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
Barnet,
Barnet.
born and generally bred.
But and then so what are the early car memories in terms of not as a kid, but your own first car?
For me, I started with a Renault 5 1 litre. Many a time on two wheels.
A TL. Was it a Renault 5 TL?
I don't know.
That
was
kind
it
of
campus.
No, it was the square sided one.
Yeah, with
like
the
it was a
square light.
A B reg, I think it was. And then 1 litre. Just like I said, 2-wheel jobs around roundabouts and stuff. When you were just boy racing or it and stuff. And then one of my friends had like do you remember the Monaco? It was like the 1.7 litre one.
Yes, the Monaco.
Yeah,
yes.
and it was with carbs and stuff on it, and it was like a missile compared to mine.
It was over a can twin choke.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I used to love because of that I used to love the GT Turbo, the Renault 5 GT Turbo, until I drove one when I was about 18, and it was so fast. I just went, I don't think so.
They're very talky, weren't they? Talk steering.
It was a nightmare. It's just you could tell that it was just crash city. Yeah. And then I just I don't think so.
Brand spanking new at the showroom. I worked at a Renault.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Apprentice.
But no, so I had that for about a year, and then I went to the like I said, the Opel Manta GTE. A reg. Crashed it within a week, straight off.
As long as that.
I have to say, it wasn't my fault.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm innocent.
No, it was a death trap. There's a road which is like quite famous, like just at the top of Potter's Bar, and you go halfway around this sharp bend, and then there's a road that goes off the bend, halfway through. And if you've never been around it before, you think, the bend is finished, and then the bend really tightens, and it's like over 90 degrees past that bit. And so you just go off in between them because you think, what's happening? And there's no sign or anything saying that junction's going to happen. And so I remember my dad abusing me constantly. You got the sports car. You can't even try. You're totally not. So I was like, right, I'm not even going to display. I'm just going to take you there and just drive. So I drove him all around the houses. And then when we got to that bend, he literally had to brake to a stop. And then he didn't say anything after that. and actually, when I crashed, 3 minutes after I crashed, someone else crashed.
So
I literally went off the left of the road, and someone else went off on the right of the road.
Were they watching you?
But it was just it was literally straight after me. And then to add insult to injury, it was a mental night. To add insult to injury, I went to try and talk to the nearest house to see if they had a phone, because there's no mobile phones or anything. And I'm coming back and saw someone stopped, and I was like, that was nice. They stopped to help me. They were nicking my stereo. I had to chase them off, and they drove away. I was like, thanks.
Is that how you met Claudio?
Well, yeah, come to think of it,
I'd to bring it back.
It was a messed up.
So they're the early cars. But how did before you became working in the car business? What was you doing before that?
Well, I was a sound engineer, actually. Yeah. Music engineer, and then sort of started working to cars as a bit of a hobby by when I got a Mazda. Mm-hmm. Got Mantas on the brain now. A Mazda RX-8, because I've always been a bit of a rotary fan, and when the RX-8 came out here, I'd pre-ordered one before they sort of arrived. I hadn't even seen one in real life. I just went, right, I'll have it. And I wanted to tweak it a little bit. just because the first time I drove it, I was like, yeah, you know what, it's a really nice car, but it's just not quite fast enough. And when I had a look around, there was just no one in the UK who was addressing them seriously. And there wasn't, it's not exactly a big rotary market here because there's just, import RX-7s and very few of them. So there was no real scene. There was nowhere to do anything. There was no parts for it and everything. So I did a lot of research and then ended up working with a company called Pettit Racing, who's based over in Florida. And so just set up sort of Pettit Europe over here. And it was kind of, I used to call it a jobby. It was like a hobby job because it was not,
jobby.
A jobby, yeah. It was because it's rotaries, even though the RX-8 sold quite a lot, it's still fairly niche. It's just one model of one manufacturer, which is quite specialist anyway. So that was really good fun, and I've still got the car, and it was a real trip with it. It was a fantastic car, and it got me into the sort of car scene from just being an enthusiast, so to speak. And it was through Pettit that I actually, one met these two because just after I'd got the RX-8, I wanted to get it dynoed. So that's how I ended up Perfect Touch meeting Gabs and Cloud.
So how long ago was that then? That must have been quite...
Yeah, it was like 2004, something like that, 2005.
Wow.
Yeah, time ago.
And you're still talking?
Yeah, but I do go quite a long time between to sort of recover, there's a recovery period.
After tonight, we won't get to see him for ages.
Yeah.
Like Halley's
this
comment.
is the first time since 2004, yeah. No,
well, it's good to have you back.
but
Where have you been?
So yeah. I know I said it would be next week, but So that was through Pettit. So I met these guys, but then also I met Dario, who runs Steeda, because Cam, who runs Pettit Racing in the US, was best mates with Dario Orlando, who ran Steeda, because they were both racing drivers when they were young, and they used to like share a house and do all sorts of stuff, go around all the circuit and everything like that. Because Dario was like a Ford factory driver, and Cam was like GT champion of the US, so they're real serious level drivers, and it was Cam who told me about Steeda because I'd never heard of them, and he was saying, oh yeah, my friend Dario does like a really amazing job with Fords and he really makes them handle and all this sort of stuff. So I sort of had a brief chat with Dario and said hello, and Cam was saying Robbie does all our stuff in Europe and everything, but back then it was left-hand drive Mustangs, and there was a few over here, but not really. Again, I didn't want another jobby, so to speak. But then when Ford said, right, global platform, right-hand drive Mustangs, also the Focus ST and the Focus RS and stuff is going to America and everything, right, we were like, oh, okay, right, now it's...
That changes.
Now it's a serious thing.
So, quite often when we talk about people, how people progress their careers, sometimes it's nothing down to them, it's just timing. And timing was right, you got involved and it changed. Yeah. Because you were there.
Yeah, and you sort it out as well, because like I said, it was kind of timing, but initially it was, well, no one else is doing this. Yeah. I want this stuff, and no one else is doing it, so just get it done. And I was thinking, well, if I want it, so clearly other people are as well. So it's yeah.
And now they're not that they're not that unusual now, are they? I mean, the whole thing's changed. Everything's changed there in terms of the American cars in the UK.
Well, not so much American cars, I wouldn't say.
You say Ford American cars.
Well, I mean, really, it's just the Mustang. It's they haven't got the F-150s and stuff like that, which is obviously like probably the iconic American Ford. The Mustang and the F-150s is what it's all about over there. But yeah, the Mustang over here is a huge thing. I think, and I personally think it's going to be a huge car in the UK. It's not an American car as such. You've just got to think of it as a sports car. Yeah. And there isn't another. I mean, I'll challenge you guys to name a affordable sports car that you can buy now.
Price tag on the
yeah. I mean, like price tag on the Mustang is late 30s for the EcoBoost, and then probably 40 for the GT. So 400 horsepower rear wheel drive, manual, 2-door sports car. You've got the Japanese, you've got the MX-5 and the FT86. And that's the cheap end of the market. So that's your 20 grand, but low power, small, And then the Japanese have given up the middle ground, and then you've got the NSX and the GTR, like a big money, 120 grand plus, the old days of Supras and RXs and Imprezas and Evos and all that is all gone. And then the Germans have just gone price crazy, and all the C63s and M3s and everything, they're all 70, 75 grand now. So what else is there? So I think this initial wave of customers who really into the Mustang were the sort of muscle car fans and the Mustang fans, because it's an iconic car, and now it's a chance to actually get one with a right-hand drive. But once people start seeing them on the market and saying, well, you know what, that is a European-sized car and it looks nice and it's got a good engine and the interior's a lot better than they used to be and everything. It's a nice general car, nice comfy seats and everything. What else can you get?
So in terms of Steeda, I mean, what are people coming for? I mean, what do you find it's quite popular at the moment? What are they looking for?
It really is across the range. Yeah, a bit of everything. We're getting the performance, because the thing is, Steeda's famous for suspension and like real performance. But it's also a bit like AMG. That's how I describe it to people who don't know anything. It's just like AMG for Ford. So they do complete turnkey cars that you can buy in a Ford dealer, and it's got tuning done, suspension done, a few appearance things done. It's just total package. So it's not just like remapping something.
This keeps their warranty.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
you buy it through the Ford dealer.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So you buy it at a Ford dealer. So we've got a couple of Ford dealers in the UK. And then one of them is our exclusive SSV dealer, which is Steeda serialised vehicles. So you go there and you can either take your Mustang if you've already got one and get it transformed, or you can just literally order the Mustang as a Q Series Mustang.
And do they do the fit on site?
Yeah.
So it comes in and then they add all those parts. But you basically supply them.
Yeah,
the components. You don't do any work on cars. You just supply.
Well, in America, we've got a massive. I think I sent you some of the pictures that you could see the actual Steeda main factory building. It's like a massive unit. So what they do is the system there is they tend to get the dealerships around the US, which are Steeda dealers, will get an order from a customer. Then the Ford factory where they make Mustangs, they will send the finished car straight to the Steeda factory, and then the Steeda factory does the build and then sends it on, or back to the selling dealer, So that's how it works in America. But obviously,
don't have that kind of network of demand.
Well, the problem is we can still do it, because the thing is, all the Mustangs are made in Detroit still, even the UK ones. So they're all made in the Mustang factory. So you could sort of do that
and then send them.
Yeah, but the problem is, the supply chain, even though it's Ford Global, it's still Ford Europe and Ford US, and so that coordination to be able to do that sort of Steeda factory dealer is just not really easy to do. It might be something for the future maybe, but there shouldn't be a need, because what we're doing is we've got like one. So it wouldn't be like if you were buying a SSV in the UK and we had, let's say in the future we'd have maybe 3 or 4 Ford dealers would do it. It would still only be one dealer who would build them, and there would be the central build place, and so the other dealers would just get the cars sent to them. So it wouldn't be just random people building it. It'd be one controlled unit.
And would that be a Ford dealer?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That would actually build them.
Correct.
Yeah, not a specialist or.
No. But it would be a special team within one Ford dealer.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So it would just be one unit who know what they're doing and have repeat. We oversee them quite carefully at the start. So
I want to change the subject slightly.
Yep.
Wheels. Wheels, Robbie. Tell me about wheels. Hold on, before you say anything about wheels, I wanted to ask Gabs first, and then Claudio, and then because we had this conversation before earlier on today, and we're going to get into wheels in a minute. So what's your view about wheels? Changing wheels, upgrading wheels.
My view on.
Or don't you have one? You're kind of like, what? Why are we talking about wheels?
Well, no, I get that. They've got to look right. A lot of people put wheels on cars and completely cock it up.
So if you're going to change them, you've got to really.
It's got to be in proportion with the car, and it's just got to. For me, it's just got to look right.
But isn't it a taste thing? Isn't it something that you look at and makes you feel good? So
definitely,
really.
Yeah. But
absolutely.
There is a line where wheels are too big or too blingy or whatever, and just if a car's an older car and then you put some really new sort of new wheels on it, new style. It just doesn't match, you know. I don't know.
So it's a bit like a good suit. You need the belt, the cufflinks, and it just kind of.
Well, it's very easy to get wrong. Like what Gabs said is
yeah.
very true. It's very easy to get wrong, and you put something wrong, and it just doesn't look right. It sounds stupid. It doesn't look right, but yeah, you just think
something off about that car.
Yeah.
How about you, Claude? What's your view around wheels?
Same sort of thing, really. I mean, like sometimes people put wheels on cars, and you just think, wow, that really don't fit.
And are we just looking at aesthetics, or are we talking about performance as well? Because obviously, bigger wheels will require lower profile tyres, and so the whole thing can change quite a bit.
You lose ride quality, you lose handling as well if you get the wrong wheels on the car. You know, just the whole lot. It's just it's got to be right.
Do you know how often do people change wheels and tyres and get a real benefit? This is what I want to kind of get Robbie into, because I know it's his thing. I'm not sure.
When is it the right time?
No, not so much the time, but I'm just like, you know, if you get changing from the manufacturer's original equipment and then starting changing wheels, I imagine changes tyres, and that can change the whole car's dynamic. I mean, we didn't do similar, but we did something to my wife's car, didn't we? And the car's never felt great. It's just been like, it was more suspension, but that has very low profile, big wheels. It's horrible. It had them anyway.
Yeah. I think again, Gab said the main thing is it's got to be right. You've got to get the right choice for the right car, and whether it's size, whether it's the tyres, you know, whatever, the style. Because there's, you know, the whole thing with wheels is there's the aesthetic, which is one thing, which as what Gabs was saying, you know, like some people just put the wrong style on or the wrong size. You know, there's a big trend sort of for trying to stick as big as you can, and then you just end up with ludicrously thin tyres, and it doesn't look right, but also you end up with like miles too small tyres, and then it kills the handling.
Stretching the tyres.
Yeah. There's so many things you can do wrong. You know, it's.
What they call it, was it low and slow?
Well, that's another style. You know.
Well, no, we saw a lot of that at Players, didn't we? At Goodwood.
Well, Players is a classic example. I mean, you get a whole scene. You know, the whole VW dub scene.
Yeah.
The VAG. It's a very US led, but you know, it's called. You know, they just say, you know, bags and rotiforms. You know, and it's literally like a 2-step guide to making an instant, you know, car. You just get airbags
from handling.
Well, you just get airbags. Well, but the thing is, you can't criticise it, because if that's what you want, you know, absolutely. It's like, so if you want, you know, but that scene is literally just airbags and wheels, bling wheels sort of thing, you know, and it'd be like pretty much Vossens or Rotiforms would be like the kind of the scene cars sort of thing, you know, or wheels, should I say, the choice, so to be in that club, you know. And they've got it nailed down, and it's
just a look thing.
It's a really looks focused scene, but you know, but then again, that's why people buy that car to get in that scene, you know, and you know, it's even got the sort of the looks roll cages in that scene, which has always baffled me, you know. It's like polished roll cage,
but it's not actually a roll cage. It's like a.
Well, I mean, it is a roll cage, but it's just pure fashion, though.
But it's got nothing to do with going on track. And
that car would never even see a track unless it's parked there for a photo shoot, you know. But it would never go on track. But they, you know, it's just a look thing. And you know, and like, I mean, that's one of the things about the car scene is it's, you know, we were all saying we like driving and we're not that into polishing. But I mean, you know, there are people who just want to polish, and there's other people who just want to look at the car and just do aesthetics, and then there's other people who want to, you know, I've had customers who just want to do the project, you know, and all they care about is, you know, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? And then as soon as they've finished, they just sell it because they've got they don't care. Once it's done, they don't care.
You send them my way, Win.
Yeah, but I'm serious. You know, they literally like, oh, what can I do next? You know, once they've run out of their own list, they're like, well, you know, they're literally saying, well, what can I put on next? I'm like, well, you kind of got everything, you know, and you know, they're like, oh, there's got to be something, you know, and but then, you know, that's for them. The fun is like just adding things and changing things, and then, but once it's finished, they don't think, oh, I've got the car how I want. Great. They're just like, oh, done. Next one.
Next project.
Yeah. So. You know, everyone's got
anything to avoid the wife.
The equivalent of a shed.
I'll be down the end of the garden.
Yeah. I mean,
I've been looking at houses lately, and we found this one house with a 300-foot garden. I'm like,
how many cars can I fit in there?
It's like a 2-minute walk to the end of the garden. I'm just going down there. You have to put like an intercom in.
Yeah. No, but I mean, wheels is a big thing, but like, you know, well, as you were saying, it's like it's a passionate thing for me, because it's kind of like Gabs, it's easy to get wrong, but when you get it right, it's the biggest success you can do to the car, because A, aesthetically, you can transform the car so it looks miles better, but B, it's one of the only sort of changes you can do to a car where it sort of makes everything better technically, you know, because like I was saying, you get the wrong wheels on, like which are the wrong size or too heavy or whatever, you can kill your ride, you can kill your handling, you know, all that stuff. But you get the right wheels on, so you know, lightweight performance wheels with the right tires and the right size and stuff, you know, your handling is better, your braking is better, your cooling is better, your miles per gallon is better, your acceleration's better, and it looks better.
I've never thought about wheels in that way.
Well, because
I just thought they reach a certain performance.
It's like, you know, what was Colin Chapman or Lotus is like add lightness. When you're trying to build a car, add lightness, and you know, most people who are car enthusiasts will know making your car lighter equals making it better. Yeah. But then what people don't necessarily know is that there's not just weight, there's different kinds of weight, as you know, Claudio or Gabs knows. You've got weight, which is just like, you know, like if you take your back seats out of your car or something, and then you have sort of unsprung weight, they call it, and then you have rotational weight, and rotational weight is probably like the, you know, the most valuable weight. It's the most important because it's the weight that is being turned by the engine.
Which one as you go quicker becomes heavier. Because I don't think your seats get heavier because you're moving, do they? So,
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No, but you're right. Yeah, but that's why
inertia.
rotational weight is so important, because
yeah.
you think about it. So what you said is true. You've got inertia. You've got the wheel turning.
Yeah.
So like the brakes have got to work harder to stop them, and the engine has got to work harder to turn them.
So the whole
but
thing.
then also it's going up and down on the suspension. So if you've got heavier weight, you've got more momentum going up and down.
Do you know what I'll be doing tonight? You just ruined my evening. I'm going to go home. I'll be on eBay looking for wheels.
But unfortunately, the UK scene, people go on eBay and all they want to do is go, what can I get for 50 quid?
50 quid.
And then you know what? You can't get
I was thinking 45 quid.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, it is a problem because, you know, what I was saying to you earlier, what I call in the UK's wheel blind.
Wheel blind, yeah.
People, you know, it doesn't matter whether they're buying a Ford Fiesta or they're buying a Porsche 911, you know, it's nothing to do with budget. It's just a cultural thing in the UK. You know, someone who's bought an Aston Martin or a Porsche 911, they've got no problem bringing it to perfect touch and saying, right, you know, I want an Akrapovic exhaust or something, and I'll drop, you know, $6,000 on an exhaust or something like that. No problem at all. But then you say, well, change your wheels then. Well, what do I do that for? And you go, well, why are you changing your exhaust? You know, it's like
but go back to that rotational. What did you call it?
Rotational weight.
Yeah, I was reading about the Bugatti Veyron, and apparently the wheel caps, and I probably am wrong technically, but the principle's right. Is when it's doing like 250 miles an hour, those wheel caps weigh 18 kilos. Well, that's a wheel cap. Not wheel cap. Sorry, wheel. You know, the valve caps.
The valve caps. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they're on the edge, so they're spinning around. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that, you know, that's what I was saying. Like, when you lose weight, what they said is rotational weight is a kind of guide. You can say it's like up to 10 times as valuable as normal weight, so to speak. Wow. Yeah. So, you know, like if you've got a wheel and it's 12 kilos, like an 18-inch wheel from a factory, like Ford Focus wheel or something like that, and then you put a performance wheel on, like an Oz Racing, Ultra Leggera or a Super Turismo or something like that, you can get, you know, that could be 9 kilos on an 18-inch wheel. So that's a 3 kilo saving per wheel. Yeah.
And what about your eBay wheel?
Well, yeah, but that might be 14 kilos, yeah. Made of cheese. Made of cheese and 14 kilos. But yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So you've got 3 kilos of you've got 3 kilos of wheels, so that's 6 kilos for the front axle and then another 6 for the back. So you got so you got 12 kilos, and then imagine that 10 times. If you went for the full 10 times value, that's 120 kilo weight saving.
Do you know, I don't think I've ever upgraded wheels on a car in all these years, ever. Tyres, I'm obsessed. Brake pads, discs, exhaust. Have we ever talked wheels?
Wheel blind,
never.
See? You don't know. You should have got your glasses fixed for that. When you went to the optician, you said, look, the colours are good, but I'm still wheel blind. Robbie said I'm wheel blind. What can you do for me?
But seriously, I'd be interested to drive an A-B comparison where you kind of go, well, look, this is 2 same cars, one with 12 kilo wheels, one with, I don't know,
well, look, I'll tell you a case in point. There's a car we had recently at Steeda, so it's not just Mustangs. We're a Ford specialist, right? our Mondeo. Now, again, I sent you a couple of pictures just sort of illustrate the point. And the Mondeo package we do, the Mondeo Sport, is very, very few simple changes. And it's basically, Steeda springs, a rear roll bar, Steeda rear roll bar, and then some Oz Racing performance wheels. And it goes up from like an 18-inch wheel to a 19 or 20-inch wheel, depending on what option you got. We had the 20s on there because I think it looks amazing. But the Mondeo is a good-looking car, but it looks silly on small wheels because it's a big car now. On the 20s, I don't know if Matt can bring the pictures up and stuff, but it looks awesome. It looks amazing. I mean, it's totally transformed. So that shows you what the sort of aesthetics we're talking about. So the wheels are the right size for the car. So it fits with the car. It's because again, too small is just as big a problem as too big. It looks like a clown car. But the thing is, but the Mondeo is a great looking car, and suddenly you sit it on the springs and the right wheels, and boom, it looks amazing. You had so many people coming up to me going, "Oh wow, what's this?" Is it, really praising it, or thinking it was a Jaguar or something like that. And then with those three simple mods, in terms of handling, and I do say three because it's like the springs and the roll bar. But combined, the wheels as well. Combined. But the thing is, the wheels as well add to the handling because you've got the much lighter, better tyres. We had the Michelin Pilot Sport 4s on there, and the thing handled like a laser. It was just the way it changed direction and everything. It was amazing. I was amazed how much difference it made. Amazed, and I said it. So it was, that was like a total package change.
Well, I think the only thing I can really I really can get into tyres. I mean, I can get obsessed with tyres. But one big difference is, say, run flats and non-run flats. It's like a completely different car, and I imagine the weight of a run flat to a non-run flat isn't as big. Because I imagine the tread's not that different. Might be very similar.
It was mainly,
but they're heavier. I'm talking about weight-wise.
They've got heavy sidewalls. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. and the same thing with the wheel. So obviously, if you're going to a lighter weight wheel, even if it's 2 or 3 kilos per wheel, like you said, that compounded when you're moving, which is called rotational weight, that's a massive difference. And if you put the other enhancements in, like suspension or anti-roll bars or whatever, that can completely change the feel of the car.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm in.
Well, it's funny. It's like
I'm going to make a note of that. Start looking at some new wheels.
It's my big bugbear because you get so many people because obviously Cloud and Gabs and myself. We're dealing with people like ourselves, enthusiasts, and they want to change things. And so it's not just if someone's a polisher, then the wheels can make a big difference. But I see people who do resprays on their car and they do body kits on their car, and yet they've got stock wheels. And I'm like, why are you spending $4,000 on a respray or $5,000 on a body kit when you can change it more by just changing the wheels?
I think why we do things is if we understand something. Like you've just put it in a way because you started talking about this earlier on today, and I was still thinking when you turned up, like, what the hell was he talking about, right?
Yeah.
How wheels? I thought wheels are wheels, and if they're performance, I can get there's something to like a more performance wheel than a non-performance wheel, but I didn't think it was that much of a difference. But now somebody will be listening to this and thinking, I've never thought about wheels in that way. And then what we've done is, and this is part of the Start Your Next Adventure series, is to bring your experience, our experience, to the fore, so people can go, I've never thought. So I'll be getting phone calls next week. Gabs, it'd be me actually phoning you. I want to change the wheels.
Yeah, for you, not the first one.
Is it like in America? That's probably the first thing they'll change, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because it's the biggest cultural difference. I mean, America's a huge car scene, and literally anyone who buys a car, not just they'll just drive. And the real enthusiasts, what they'll do is they'll have their car, they'll buy it, they'll change the wheels, and then a year's time they'll say, oh, you know what, I'll freshen up the car, I'll get a different set of wheels, because they know it's the biggest thing you can change the look of a car. You change the colour of your wheels, for example, and the style of wheels, it suddenly looks like you've got a totally different car. And again, it's not that much of an investment.
But wheel sales must be really big.
Oh, it's huge over there. I mean, it's huge, and people spend big money because like, pardon me, a normal set of wheels, like what I'd call a normal set of wheels, is as they're called cast wheels. Is like the manufacturing process of making wheels. It's super boring, but it's basically
go for it.
They're cast
that's
wheels.
Our kind of audience.
And then and so there's a few different ways of doing it, but at the end of the day, it's the simpler, cheaper way of making wheels. and they're still good quality. You know, if they're well made by a good company like OZ or Velgen or whoever, you know, it's a solid way of making wheels, and that's how 99% of wheels are made. And for a good set of sort of reasonable size, you know, like 18-inch to 20-inch wheels, you're looking sort of usually between, like, say, £1,000 to £2,000, you know, depending, right? And you can get them for less, you know. There was sub-brand Sparker, they do 18-inch wheels, and you can easily get them for sub £1,000, and they're great wheels again, and lightweight as well. But, you know, the Americans just take it to the next step with forged wheels. And, you know, over here, your Lamborghini guys or whatever, the Ferrari boys, that's what they'd expect, the Porsche GT3 guys. That they'd expect Porsche, you know, forged wheels, and that's what come with the car, and that they probably start around £4,000 for a set. But, you know, they go up to sort of, you know, 8,000, whatever. And that, you know, that is, whew, you've got to be dedicated to the wheel scene to do that.
Can you just buy one at a time?
Well, yeah. You can save them up.
I love that one.
Yeah, you can save them. I mean, the advantage of forged and is it because it's, like I said, it's different manufacturing process.
We've got an AMG for sale at the moment. It's got forged alloys, and the owner really made a point of these are forged.
Well, yeah, because it's a serious investment. They're not real ones. Yeah, they're forged AMG wheels. Yeah.
But he said they were forged, and I was like, and I'll be honest, you know, someone tells you something, I was like, okay, great. Yeah. But I didn't appreciate what that means.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like people over here have got no idea. Just because, well, I mean, forged wheels are super rare over here, just because of the investment, and there's just not that many. You know,
it's not the sort of thing you want to put in a car and let your wife drive, though, is it?
No. I mean, curbing is painful enough, isn't it? Like, it's one of the worst things that could happen to you in a car. You know?
Yeah, it's really loud as well.
It's self-inflicted as well. That's horrible. The horror. But yeah, it's basically the process with forged wheels is you basically get a metal and then just smash it into shape with high temperature and high pressures. And you know, they can be from like monoblock billet, so it can be like billet aluminium and then just, you know, cut out, and then whereas cast is obviously melted. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's and the thing with forge is it makes it much stronger, which means you can be much thinner, which means you can be therefore lighter. So you can have a big wheel, so you can have like a 20-inch Velga, so like a 20 by 10.5 wheel, and it could still be like sub 10 kilos. Whereas
I mean, we see it all the time. You know, cheap wheels on cars, and they're bent, cracked. The amount of wheels we see cracked.
Yeah.
It's
well, that's back to Mr. eBay.
Yeah.
and it's got a bad rep because people here do things cheaply, and then they go, oh, I got those wheels and they were rubbish. You know, I'll stick with my Ford wheels, or I'll stick with my Mercedes wheels or whatever. And they go, well, yeah, that's because you've got rubbish wheels, you know. Yeah.
So what are the nicest wheels you've ever seen? That you kind of memorable wheels? Or is that too too geeky?
Yeah.
What's the range of wheels that you use?
Yeah, well, we work with, I mean, closely we work with like OZ Racing, who are obviously based in Italy, and, you know, like make the wheels for Ferraris and Formula One and World Rally Championship and everything. You know, they've been doing motorsport for time, and they make great wheels. And we tend to use them for like the Focuses and the Mondeos, for example. The Sparco range I mentioned, which is also made by us, but obviously using the Sparco brand, we use them as our Fiesta choice wheel because they're sort of more affordable, but again, still good quality and good looking wheels. And then Velgen is our the US based wheel company. We use them for sort of our high end wheels, mainly for our Mustang range, but also, you know, they do forge stuff. So across the board, we're launching Velgen actually into the UK.
How do you spell that, Velgen?
Yeah, VELGEN.
Velgen. Oh, that sounds German, not.
Yeah, I think it's Dutch or German or something, and it means wheels or something. I think. Yeah.
Literally wheels.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so it's wheels. Yeah.
So, you guys, have you done any projects with? I mean, what's the relationship between Perfect Touch and Steeda at the moment? What do we do with? I don't know because I only met Robbie. I've only met Robbie today, so I'm kind of like.
You've been here. You've done a bit of R&D on some products for Steeda.
Because
on dyno and stuff, and we've done some bits for you, and also Bobby, you know, you put clients our way.
Yeah, so they're Perfect Touch are an authorised fitter for us.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then as Gab says, we use them because they're independent, so we can do sort of dyno testing. Like we did a feature here with Fast Forward magazine, for example, where we did got a stock ST, so we had a demo ST, we had it stock, and then we actually installed the hardware and then dynoed it. So stock dyno, hardware only install dyno, and then hardware plus remap dyno. Because the thing is, a lot of hardware, especially sort of intakes, is a bit of a black art, and you'll go on a forum, as you'll go on Facebook, and you'll just see everyone going, oh yeah, intakes are rubbish, rah rah rah. And that is true, because again, it's the eBay theory. It's so easy. It's like wheels. It's so easy to just buy something, because yeah, exactly. Cars are complex things, especially modern cars, and you just put something rubbish in there, and the car just goes, yeah, I don't think so, and it will just put full performance. And it was, either you're sucking hot air in, which is just bad for performance anyway, or you're getting bad airflow, and then the sensors just go, oh, I don't like this, and then they pull back performance. But you get a good quality bit of hardware, it can improve performance both in sort of airflow and temperature. And so we were trying to prove that with the hardware testing and in back-to-back time. And I like seeing products myself, because even though I chose to work with Steeda because I really liked what they were doing and the quality of the parts and stuff, it's good for me to sort of do my own testing so I can see it functioning here in the UK, because sometimes we want to make sure everything works good here. But also I like to see the actual, instead of someone just saying, oh yeah, it does this.
It's good to believe in
if you can see it yourself, you can talk to customers and say, well look, I know, because I've dynoed it on my own car, and I know what happens.
Yeah, so. But with all good intentions, something could come over, you put it on, and it doesn't for some reason. There's a R&D.
Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and when we do the testing and stuff, we find that this isn't the same, or that's not the same, and then we can say to the US factory, oh look, this just doesn't work, or we need to make a small adjustment for this, which we've done on a couple of products for the Mustang, for example, like the hood struts we had to change, and the strut tower brace we had to change. So yeah. I just want to ask Claudio. You were saying about one of the Ford. Was it ST or was it
RS?
The new RS.
You like that.
It takes something to impress Claudio. And what was it you said about the car?
It was actually handled really well. I was really surprised how well it behaved on the road, even when you were naughty with the car.
Even when
not on the road.
Not on the road.
If you
on the closed circuit.
And would that car be where's the development for that car done? Is it an American development, or is it
no? That was a
European.
Yeah.
Would that be, when I say European, do we mean England or do we mean Germany or?
Yeah.
It would be Germany. So that means what? Going around Nürburgring?
Team RS is, but no, they're all over the place. Ford have got a test track here as well, so it's all over the place. Yeah, 25. Yeah. No, it's Dunsfold is the Ford one near Dagenham, and but yeah, they test it well. I think there's one in, I'm not sure if it's Belgium or Netherlands as well. It's a big operation.
Actually, a question for all three of you. I mean, like, there are some cars that come out of the factory that you look back and go, that was a really well put together car. It handled well, it braked, it did what it should do. But on the opposite side, there's cars that come out, they've never fulfilled what they should have been. Any cars you think of like that you feel, in your opinion, just never did?
DeLorean.
Well, it never went back in time.
Gabs, that was a time machine.
She was driving along at 88 miles an hour for ages.
The DeLorean's an injury. I've been in 1983 now for 6 months. No, but the DeLorean's an interesting case, isn't it? Because it was almost like a Frankenstein car, wasn't it? And it was very interesting. That's a very unusual example. But have you driven a DeLorean?
Yeah.
And was it that awful? Because it had a Renault engine in it and a...
Yeah,
I mean, it was like
Renault gearbox. I don't know what engine. Is it Renault engine as well? Yeah.
V6.
It's not good.
Not good.
Not good.
But it does look great. And the wheels on
awesome. It gets so much attention.
Yeah. Especially if it's the original one with all the bits on it.
Oh, yeah. But
to drive it is awful.
Yeah.
Totally awful. What other cars? What other cars can you
I
recall?
think that's the thing for me with like the classic car thing like that is, like muscle cars or because you think, oh, great shape, lovely, iconic and everything. And then if you drive one which is like a stock normal one, It's appalling.
Yeah,
Is that is a bit,
Technology is
is
just,
that a bit like you should never meet your heroes? Because kind of they were up on your poster wall. You've dreamt of as a kid. And you finally get around the driveway and you go,
And you go,
"This
oh my
is
god,
rubbish."
yeah, that's happened quite a few times, but I just can't think of the cars right now. But yeah, you do get.
I
that.
t- I
You do
think
get
it's
into a
just
car and
technology.
just-
Car technology's gone so forward in the last 20 years or something even.
But then,
you know.
but also technology has kind of, pardon the pressure, like driven out the excitement of some cars as well, hasn't it? It's kind of made. It's
Yeah, but
kind of made
didn't
a lot
affect
of
the
cars.
RS. did it?
No, the RS is
If you use it right, yeah.
I'd see what I remember growing up. I was always into sort of German and BMWs, and that was my thing growing up. And now you always have these camps with your friends, like the Porsches are great and the Ferraris are great, and I'd come along and go, no, you got to get a Cobra and all that. But I remember a friend of mine was a fan of Capris, and I was like, Capris, like rubbish Capris. I like Capris. And I was a car dealer for a little while when I was about 21 to about 24, 25, and I took in this 2.8i injection special. Is it special? 2.8i special injection, and he'd done a stage 2 on it, I think, on the engine. He'd lowered it a little bit, and I used to get in that car and drive it, and I couldn't think of a better car to drive around in. And now you can't find them for love or money, but it was like I never would have expected enjoying a 2.8 Capri ever. And I think it had a limited slip diff as well. No comment?
No comment.
Still a rubbish car.
Oh yeah, I don't want to speak about Capri. All I know is my mate said he was driving it with his uncle and he fell out the door when they went round the corner.
Oh, he should have the version with the door locking. But I was
it's a
surprised. I
hazard.
didn't expect that. Did not expect that.
We rebuilt an engine on a Tickford, didn't
Tickford,
we?
yeah.
A few years ago.
Was that on the mag
Was
as
it
well?
like a really
Yeah, the
airy
mag,
kit,
yeah.
with like full body kit job?
Not the body kit. No, it didn't have the body kit.
Oh
did
yeah,
it?
okay.
I know they've done the wider one.
Yeah, the
and
massive
all-
square
Yeah,
sort of,
no,
yeah.
it wasn't that
It
one.
wasn't. No, it wasn't.
No.
No,
Right.
But that was a V6
Six.
turbocharged
Yeah.
thing, and we rebuilt that engine. That was quite nice engine.
Yeah.
So what was the worst car you've driven that's supposed to be good, other than a DeLorean? Come on, guys, spill the beans. And if you own one of these cars, don't take it too hard because it might be worth a lot.
I've
Because
always
it's rare.
thought Porsche. I've never liked Porsche 911s. It's like sacrilege.
Any 911.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
God.
not any 911, but like I never liked the sound of them, and then I've never driven one and liked it. I don't know why. When I drove the old ones, it was like sort of my dad's old ones, which is like way back in the day when I only just started driving, and I was like, oh yeah, Porsche, right, yeah. And then the noise of it just made you go faster, sort of, which sounds like a good thing, but for me, I like to just cruise. When I'm on the road, I just want to just cruise and enjoy the car, and it just sounded like a bag of bolts, sort of thing. Unless you got it going, And I just felt like it was just
sense.
it was just kept saying go faster, go
But
faster,
that's
go faster.
yeah, I know. But
And
But
then
to drive it.
yeah, I know, but I just thought, I didn't like them, and then I thought, maybe the new ones, because everyone just goes on about Porsches being so amazing. And I drove a Carrera 4S sort of fairly recently, a new one, and I remember just going,
Meh.
yeah, the interior was terrible, and it was really uncomfortable, and it just did not go fast at all. It made all the noise, and I kept going, well, come on, surely it's going to go fast soon. Never happened. So, I spoke to one of my mates who's a Porsche fan. And
Robbie, did it have a flux capacitor?
No, no, but I guess, maybe like the Flash Porsches. Like
Turbos.
yeah, and the GT3s and all this sort of stuff. My mate got one of them, he absolutely loves it. But yeah,
I've got to
the
say,
regular 911s.
911s for me, I love the way they drive.
Yeah.
I love them.
No, yeah.
Power delivery, the way they handle, it's brilliant. The older ones you got to hold on for dear life, but
As long as you keep your foot flat.
nothing can go wrong. Yeah,
especially when you get
it's just a funny thing with me. I've just never got it.
Yeah.
Just to bring Matt, you right there? You got a mic?
I'm all mic'd up. Yeah, I'm good.
So wheels, where are you at with wheels, Matt?
With wheels, I think on my first car I changed the wheels probably about 3 times.
Wow, what was that?
Went for lighter, smaller than the standard wheels. Get some better tyres on them. But yeah, for the look as well.
For the look as well. And what about the worst car? What's the worst car you've had?
Worst car? Well, I've only owned 3 cars. But the worst car
one?
I've driven is probably just a smart car, I'd have said.
Wow.
Gearbox horrendous on the very first smart cars.
Smart cars.
Yeah.
I used to have a smart car. It was quite
Let's
good.
slack some cars off. Come on.
Yeah.
DB7.
Oh yeah, go on. I could say so about a DB9 as well.
DB7.
What, disappointment?
Just couldn't wait to get in it. Started it up and just
didn't
got
get it.
100 metres down the road and thought, this is loaded.
Really? What,
Yeah.
that quickly?
Yeah.
How come?
Because put my foot flat to the floor. It didn't go nowhere. And that just killed
Was that
it.
auto
just
type
killed
thing,
it
was
for
it,
me.
or just poor engine?
What's that? Sorry.
What was it? Because of auto box or just bad engine or what?
No, they just don't have.
Didn't have the grunt.
The grunt, and I just don't
Probably
enjoy
didn't
it.
start the job when they give you a Ford key and you're looking for it.
I have to say, actually, that is one of the things as well with Lamborghini.
Well, and Ferrari.
because
Ferrari,
yeah,
get a Fiat key.
yeah, but it's
Ferrari,
like
so.
I remember going in it was like a Gallardo, but like a real high
They give you
end.
an Audi key.
Like a really flash one. Yeah, and you got in it and it was just like being in a 7 Series Audi or something. And I just think, come on, you're spending 200 grand supposedly. You've changed the switch gear or something, you know.
Yeah, that's
Make an effort.
Yeah, make an effort, yeah. Don't feel like you just all the money's just going in Audi pocket, you know. That make it Lamborghini instead of just having a shell.
also Maserati. I've driven a few Maseratis. Of a bit of a letdown as well.
What, old ones?
Even the newer ones, like the
really?
newish Quattroporte and stuff like that.
Oh,
you
I
just
like them.
really wallowy. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Really,
they are.
like that, like, rather
wallowy.
than actually.
yeah. I mean, it's
just-
supposed to be a luxurious car, but it can handle
Yeah.
being driven. But yeah, not.
I think more of a cruiser.
Yeah, I get that, but you
It
know,
doesn't like being.
at motorway speed, it's a
Yeah.
bit
Oh, really?
too. You know, I've been in a few and thought,
No, not having it.
no, and that kills me to say that because I'm
Yeah.
Italian. so.
Yeah. Well, I my one Quattroporte, I'm a big fan of the old look Quattroporte.
The old one, yeah.
Really like that, but they
Is that the one
sound
with the rear
fantastic.
wheel arch has got like almost goes into a straight line, sort of. It doesn't do a
I don't know.
complete arch. If you get what I mean.
It was basically the one after the really angular one. It's really rubbish
Twin
descriptions,
turbo.
isn't it? Yeah, I think
The
so.
bi-turbo.
Which I drive as well. I got out, opened the bonnet up just to make sure it actually had some turbos
Well, I hadn't fallen off.
and it hadn't been robbed.
Well,
that was like,
yeah. Well, that was what the Carrera 4S felt like to me when I was driving it, because I was like, you know, I put my foot down, it was auto bolts, and then like the change down came, you know, and then but nothing happened.
No one robbed the turbos off.
Yeah,
it.
maybe,
There's a great-
yeah, exactly, yeah. But I was shocked at how it just didn't do anything.
So before we're getting close to finishing off, it goes fast, doesn't it?
Yeah, I told you,
you
never
kind of
get me.
forget.
Shut up, yeah. Get the older.
So how do we see the future coming along? We got electric coming. We got all sorts of driverless cars. I mean, what's the future of, you know, of this passion, this interest that we have in cars?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, we've got a lot of problems in terms of the future, and it's kind of started now. One of my bugbears about the UK sort of government and the automotive business is insurance. You know, we all started off as young kids who loved cars, and then we got our cars, and they might have been rubbish, but at least they were cars, and we got in them when we were 17. You know, I remember like, as soon as I was 17, right, I can get a license. You know, and same with my mates and everything, and we'd be. Nowadays, kids go, you get a license, and they're like, yeah, that's $6,000 insurance, please. And I've got a rubbish car. I don't care, $6,000 insurance. And
it's a
I'm
big
like,
put off,
it's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Big,
And then
big
and then
And a black box.
yeah, and the thing is, you know, like when you want apprentices or you want people to work in McLaren, or you want, how are they going to do it? Because you know, their enthusiasm is just killed at birth, and we've got a big industry.
It's
in the
interesting
UK.
you've gone there, because we ask this question every time, and it's like a lot of people talk about, you know, the emissions and and you actually it's almost like the next generation are being cut off not just about cars. They're coming out of university in debt. They can't get apprenticeships. They can't get jobs. And also if we look at, this is one of my you know, getting on my little soapbox is like, you know, artificial intelligence, robotics. There's many jobs that are not going to be around in 15, 20 years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And maybe we may be the final generation that had the chance to really explore cars and the adventure of being, you know, great, you know, just having the bad cars an adventure as well, you know, because you're out there doing it. At least you're
Yeah,
there.
but hey, maybe if no one's got jobs, then they can tinker in their sheds building project cars and go, hit the track the whole time, and have, you know,
Track days.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but these
I mean,
things-
if
these
the
things-
future works out well, it could be brilliant. You know, it could be like leisure time for everyone.
But these things
yeah.
cost money, don't they? And they get, like you said, it's getting dearer and dearer to do these things. And I think you know, thinking ahead, I think maybe there'll be a whole different way of experiencing great cars. It'll be a different way. It won't be just maybe your everyday experience. Maybe a lot more people are going to, I don't know, own cars, car share. I don't know. I mean, if think about it, if you can press a button and you've got a driverless car, will turn up in 15 minutes and take you where you want to go, drop you off and go. Because most of the time, most cars are sitting around doing nothing.
Oh yeah.
22, 23 hours.
The whole infrastructure of cars can be changed completely, like you said, because if you've got a driverless car, it doesn't have to be parked around all day.
If it's not your, or maybe you buy your miles like you buy your minutes, and you have, I don't know, 200 miles a month.
If you just put 10 grand's worth of wheels, you ain't gonna let no one drive it, are you?
but the thing is,
where would the passion be for that?
But I'm saying, but what you've got to separate out is, I'm going to the shops, or I'm going to school, or I'm going to work with I love cars, and I want to go for a drive in the country, or go to a track day, or go to a car show, or whatever. And I think, those two things are just going to be separate. You're just going to
like transport and utility is going to be very different to
hobby and
passion.
enjoyment and sport or whatever. And then although the rules have to be carefully observed, because it's very easy if they make a law saying, right, you just can't have petrol engines, which they're talking about doing, on petrol or diesel engines, good riddance diesel. But if that becomes like, for everything, unless they say, you can have an exemption for motorsport, you can have exemption for leisure cars, or whatever. Then, but otherwise, it can be very easy to, just wipe out everything. And it is, like I said, it's a niche industry, but the UK's got a strong industry.
Well, it's a world leader, isn't it?
Exactly. Motorsport, Formula One, rallying, but also, we've got small manufacturers, and we've got, companies like Perfect Touch and, and others around it as specialists, and, developing cars. And then we've got little factories, like we work with Miltech Performance, who's like a UK-based manufacturer, making exhaust systems, and
it does make you wonder what's ahead.
Yeah, it's a thing that the UK does well, but the government doesn't, because I'm all for clean air. Believe me, if you live in London, you should be as well. But
I think in that terms there could be some amazing opportunities if we're getting more of our utility that's clean, and then we can really enjoy the passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a way of managing that, and I think it will bring down carbon emissions. It will mean that we can enjoy the cars and see them for generations to come, maybe. Well, I think we've had a fantastic evening. I can still hear the trains going by. Any final last words, Gabs, for you?
I'm hungry.
Me too. Claudio?
I'm all done.
Put 2 turbos on it. Yeah, okay. I understand. Put your right foot down. Lovely. Robbie, I want to say thank you for coming and joining us.
My pleasure.
It's an evening out of your personal life, and maybe if it's that, I don't know, maybe your personal life, you'd rather be here. I don't know. Anything to get away from the wife. Any final last words before we start?
No, just bring on the future. I think everything gets better, and just we've got to just pick out the good bits.
Just pick out the good bits. So on that note, just pick out. So I want to, as Erkan Ali, start your next adventure. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you've got any questions for us, subscribe on our channel, share, ask us any further questions. All the details for Steeda and Robbie will be on the links. So please, just get in touch, and we'd like to hear more of what you'd like to hear about. So from me and the gang, thank you very much, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.